Coming up on SCTV3, see all that happened at this year's Halloween Fall Fest.
Plus, learn more about how the Vice President for Campus Life and Community Engagement found her way to Springfield College.
All that and more tonight on SCTV3.
Hello and welcome to this evening's edition of SCTV3 Weekly News. I'm Sam McGilpin.
And I'm Dante Iafredi. Thank you for joining us. We start tonight's show right here on Alden Street. Last night, Springfield College's Campus Activities Board held its first ever Halloween Fest. SCTV3's Liam Riley attended the event to see how campus is celebrating the spooky season.
Halloween is just 8 days away, and to celebrate, CAB has put together their newest event, Halloween Fest. Inside the Campus Union, students decorate tote bags with markers, orange and white strings, and spooky-themed stickers. After designing their tote bags, students filled them up with treats from the candy bar. Those looking for a thrill found themselves descending the giant inflatable slide. Outside on the Naismith Green, students got charged up as they entered the laser tag inflatable, filled with Halloween decorations. Students shared what their favorite part of Halloween Fest was.
I would have to say the slide because me and Hope went down it about 7 times and it was awesome.
My favorite part was all the different types of candy that they had. They had Trolley, Twizzlers, Reese's, Kit Kats. It was everything a girl could dream of. It was awesome.
Around this time, CAB usually celebrates Halloween by holding their monthly bingo. However, Ava Calfamo, the signature events chair for CAB, got the idea for Halloween Fest when looking at decorations for future events.
I was looking on our websites we normally go on to bring different inflatables and novelties to our events, and I saw multiple Halloween themed ones. So I thought, why not bring multiple ones here at one time and make it a Halloween themed event?
For those interested in more Halloween themed events, Cal will be hosting their Halloween bingo next Thursday. Reporting for SCTV3, I'm Liam Riley.
The Career Center held a pre-professional series earlier the week for students interested in medical school, law school, or health science graduate programs. The series was split into 2 parts, with the first taking place on Monday in the Campus Union Rooms Dodge A and B. This session was informational, where students spoke to faculty and administrators from programs like Pre-Health Scholars and Pre-Law. Day 2 was the graduate school fair on Tuesday in Cheney A and B. The room was filled with admission representatives from medical, law, and health science graduate school programs ready to talk about what their programs have to offer. Director of the Career Center, Scott Dranka, spoke on how the Career Center can help students with the grad school process.
We go through that checklist that comes with all graduate school applications, such as ordering transcripts, helping students to identify if there are professional tests that they need to take, such as the GMAT or the GREs, understanding the timeline, understanding and interpreting what those scores mean.
The Career Center's next event is an information session on November 13th with a focus on discovering transferable skills from prior jobs.
Purple Thursday, an event to spread awareness of October being Domestic Abuse Awareness Month, was held in the Union lobby earlier today. SC's Flynn Campus Union was covered in purple string and strands and featured different ways for students to educate themselves about local resources. A table had pamphlets from the YMCA of Greater Springfield that expanded upon healthy relationships and signs of potential domestic violence. Students also printed their hands on a large poster and wrote words of encouragement. Springfield College community members are urged to wear purple during October in a show of support for victims. The college's campus advocate for the YWCA, a shelter service for domestic violence, can be found in the Office of Campus Life and Community Engagement on the 3rd floor of the Union.
This past Sunday morning from 8:30 to 10, the college held the Resources Fair in the Union Cafe as part of a fall open house. The fair was for prospective students and their parents visiting campus to learn more about different aspects of Springfield College. Attendees walked around going from booth to booth. Some of that departments that were represented included the Financial Aid Office, the Career Center, and the college's Alumni Office. SC's Student Media had a table set up as well. Students and families visited campus to learn more about their program of interest and learn more about the school. This is the first of 3 resource fairs scheduled for the fall, with back-to-back events set for Sunday, November 2nd and Sunday, November 9th.
The Athletic Training Club met on Tuesday night for its monthly meeting in the Athletic Training Lab located in the Physical Education Complex here on campus. The Athletic Training Club is a student-run organization for athletic training majors led by upperclassmen in the program. Its goal is to provide fun and valuable opportunities that go beyond the classroom to help future athletic trainers gain real-world experience, Club events include shadowing athletic trainers at on-campus games, going on field trips, like their upcoming visit to a Springfield Thunderbirds hockey game, and networking with professional athletic trainers currently working in the field. The club also hosts competitions focused on essential skills like taping techniques and athlete care, helping students build confidence and improve their craft. Overall, the Athletic Training Club is about giving AT students a head start in their careers by expanding their knowledge, developing practical skills, and making professional connections. The AT Club meets monthly and will meet again sometime in November.
Last Thursday, Lone Eagle and the Forest hosted a world music concert inside Marsh Memorial Chapel. The concert featured indigenous storytelling and music, following the journey of Coyote narrated by Lone Eagle as he progresses into modern times and tries to capture nation's essence. The Forest, a procession ensemble that includes Springfield College adjunct music professor Leah Bowden, accompanied the narration with different percussion instruments. Chris Gagney, chair of the Visual and Performing Arts Department, spoke to SCTV3 about the performance.
I think this space, because of the acoustics, is really conducive to kind of sound exploration. And this group is kind of doing a lot of that, where it's kind of soundscapes. I just thought the acoustics in here would work really well for what they're doing. So I thought it'd be
This event was part of the William Simpson Fine Arts Series. More information at springfield.edu/Simpson.
We now send it over to SCTV3's Tyler Semenich, who's in the weather studio with our local and national weather update. Tyler, what is next week's forecast looking like?
Thanks, Sam. Let's take a look at the forecast for this week. Friday kicks off the weekend with partly cloudy skies, highs near 58 and a chilly low around 40. Saturday looks beautiful, sunshine all day with temperatures around 58 degrees. Though it'll be cold start in the upper 30s, by Sunday, clouds begin to move in and temperatures dip a bit with a high of 53 and a low of 36. Monday stays mostly cloudy with a mix of sun and clouds, highs in the low 50s. Then things get unsettled midweek. Tuesday brings showers and even a chance of a few thunderstorms, highs around 52. That stormy pattern will continue through Wednesday and Thursday. Both days look rainy, with thunder possible and temperatures holding steady in the mid-50s. Now, onto our national weather update. Heavy rain and strong winds have been pounding the Lakeshore, Michigan area this week. Wind gusts topped out at 40 miles per hour, and the rain has caused massive waves in the Lakeshore area, alerting homeowners on the shore. Residents are being urged to use caution if driving and to secure outdoor items that could blow around. The worst of the storm is expected to be moving out early this weekend. Residents in the Lake Michigan area should expect lingering showers and cooler temps through the next couple of days. Back to you guys in Studio A.
Stay tuned after the break for our national and international headlines. This is SCTV3 Weekly News.
My opponent is completely disregarding almost half of my arguments which I respond to.
Communities must step up
Laws
and
alone
protest
cannot
against this
stop
normalizing.
bullying.
Well, I completely disagree.
Point of inquiry, do you guys even realize that the #1 killer of children and teens are gun injuries?
You're probably starting to realize now, this is not a debate.
There is no adult in this earth that wants children to die.
I worry for my kids.
There is a road laid out for me.
First night here, but Amy seems cool.
Leading down to the river. I am blind, but I need not see.
What do you think?
I know this road is there for me. If I'm really free, take me down to the river and walk.
Millions around the country took part in the second round of the No Kings protest against President Donald Trump and his administration. SCTV3's Nick Pantages has more.
In what turned out to be a record-breaking turnout, almost 7 million people showed up across the country to protest against President Donald Trump. The protest was titled the No Kings Protest. It was a response against what organizers say is authoritarian action by President Trump and his administration.
Our government is based on ideas embodied in the Constitution. Among other remarkable features, it guarantees our freedom to speak, as we're doing here today.
There were over 2,700 individual rallies, and the largest turnouts were seen in New York City, Washington, D.C., Boston, and Chicago, with each of the 4 major cities seeing an estimated crowd of over 100,000 people. People joined in the protest for a number of reasons, with some demonstrators mentioning specific policies such as immigration, ICE raids, and President Trump's Big Beautiful Bill. This was the second instance of these protests, with the first coming in June. In response to the protests, Democratic Senator Jeff Merkley of Oregon delivered a marathon 22-hour speech praising the protesters for their actions.
I'm so proud of the 7 million Americans who took to the street in every one of our states at those 2,700 different locations all across the country to say no kings.
The protests were nonviolent, with just 3 people suffering injuries, and in total there were an estimated 36 arrests made at the protests around the country. Reporting for SCTV3, I'm Nick Pantages.
Ezra Levin, the co-founder of Indivisible, one of the companies behind the protests, said that he expects to have a third round of protests at some point.
Police arrested a man Monday they say was planning to open fire with an assault rifle at the Hartsfield-Jackson Airport in Atlanta, which is the world's busiest airport. SCTV3 reporter Caleb Knowles has the latest on the investigation.
Atlanta police say crisis was averted. Surveillance video shows law enforcement moving in on 49-year-old Billy Joe Cagle as he arrived at Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport. Cagle left his truck parked outside and then proceeded to scope out the TSA security line.
I'm just here.
Police had received a warning that Cagle was headed to the airport with plans to carry out a shooting using an AR-15 assault rifle. He made the threat during a live social media broadcast. A family member saw the live stream and immediately contacted authorities. Officers arrested Cagle after discovering the loaded weapon with 27 bullets inside his vehicle. Police described Cagle as, quote, mentally challenged, end quote. Darren Shirebaum, chief of the Atlanta Police Department, said,
I do believe that Mr. Cagle was headed back to his truck to retrieve it, and I do believe he was likely to use that weapon inside the crowded terminal.
Cagle now faces multiple charges, including terroristic threats and possession of a firearm. Atlanta Mayor Andre Dickens weighed in.
Say something did work, and so we are standing here talking about a tragedy averted versus us standing here telling you about 27 plus lives that were lost or injured.
All of this unfolds as airport officials warn travelers to expect longer TSA wait times due to the staffing shortages related to the government shutdown. Reporting for SCTV3, I'm Caleb Knowles.
Cagle has been taken into custody and will await trial at a later date.
Vice President J.D. Vance is on the ground in the Middle East this week, trying to mediate a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas. SCTV3's Cal Valentine has more.
Wednesday night in Israel, Vice President J.D. Vance said he was optimistic the fragile ceasefire will not collapse.
Can I say with 100% certainty that it's going to work? No. But you don't do difficult things by only doing what's 100% certain.
However, just 2 days ago, Israel briefly resumed its strikes on Gaza. With at least 45 Palestinians reported dead, Israel said it was responding after Hamas militants killed 2 of its soldiers. President Trump took to social media Tuesday saying that if Hamas violates the ceasefire deal, the reaction will be, quote, fast, furious, and brutal.
They're going to be very good, they're going to behave, they're going to be nice, and if they're not, we're going to go and we're going to eradicate them if we have to.
Hamas reinforced it's still committed to the agreement, returning the bodies of 2 more hostages. Tuesday, Israel transferred the bodies of 15 Palestinians to the Gaza Strip. The next phases of the deal expected to focus on militants giving up their weapons. Vice President Vance acknowledged that the path ahead will not be easy, but reaffirmed the commitment to pursuing a viable and lasting resolution.
We have a very, very tough task ahead of us, which is to disarm Hamas, but rebuild Gaza to make life better for the people in Gaza, but also to ensure that Hamas is no longer a threat to our friends in Israel. That's not easy. I think the Prime Minister knows that as well as anybody, but it's something that we're committed to in the Trump administration.
The administration says there won't be U.S. boots on the ground in Gaza, but American troops are a part of the efforts to coordinate humanitarian aid and monitor the ceasefire. Reporting for SCTV3, I'm Kyle Valentine.
Yesterday, President Trump received the Architect of Peace Award from the Nixon Foundation for his efforts to end the war in Gaza.
After the break, SCTV3's Lanaya Delgado has you covered with another edition of SCTV3 Sports Extra.
I don't think that many kids in my son's school even do it.
He makes fun of his friend who vapes.
He would never try it.
She's into soccer.
She's on the honor roll.
She's just not the type.
No way.
No way.
No way.
No way, my kid would never vape.
Get your head out of the cloud. Today, nearly 8,000 kids will start vaping. Maybe even yours. Learn about the dangers at talkaboutvaping.org.
Hello, and welcome to this edition of SCTV Sports Extra. I'm Lanaya Delgado. Springfield Field Hockey hosted a tough test on Wednesday, welcoming third-ranked Babson to Stagg Field. Springfield College Hockey nearly pulled off a massive upset, taking third-ranked Babson down to the wire, and Pride struck the first opening quarter when Sarah Healy found the back of the net off a freed Amber Wolkner. Despite several penalty corner chances, Springfield could not extend the lead, and Babson capitalized late. Caroline DiGiovanni scored the game winner midway through the fourth quarter, breaking a tie 1-1. With the second 2-1 win, Babson extended its win streak over Springfield to 17 straight as the Pride continues to search for the first victory against the Beavers since 2013. SCTV3's Dante Ianfredi was there for more.
Here at Stagg Field, Springfield College gave nationally ranked Babson all it could handle in a tight 2-1 battle. Pride jumped out early behind Sarah Haley's goal, just couldn't hang on against one of Division III's best. And despite outstanding defense and several key saves from goalkeeper Sam Orcutt, Babson's pressure finally broke through late in the fourth, sealing the Beavers' 17th straight win over Springfield. It's a tough loss, but a strong showing that proves the Pride can compete with the nation's elite. Reporting for SCTV3, I'm Dante Ianfredi.
With the loss, Springfield drops 9-6 on the season and will look to bounce back when they host Wheaton this Saturday. Springfield College athletics have been making course around campus and beyond, from clutch performances to big-time wins. SCTV3's Sam McGolpin breaks down this week's edition of Sam's Starting Lineup.
Welcome to this year's first edition of Sam's Starting Lineup, highlighting the top performances from the Pride this past week. At number 3 is Ahuna James. The junior on the women's volleyball team racked up 10 kills in a bounce-back sweep over Mount Holyoke. This is James's 4th time with 10 kills in a match this season, and she also had an assist, an ace, and 6 digs. The Pride are 19-3 with an impressive 8-1 record in the new MAC. At number 2 is Caitlin Solar. Solar had 2 goals and an assist in a win last Saturday over a solid WPI squad. Her first goal was at the right place and the right time, and her second was a chip shot for the Pride's 4th goal in just the first half. More impressively, Springfield women's soccer has won 5 of its last 7 games. At 1 is Tyler Sordillo. The junior defensive tackle had a career-high 3 sacks, including a huge forced fumble early on in the game to be WPI football 24-10. He earned Division III Football.com National Weekly Honors, as well as NewMac Defensive Player of the Week. Springfield has won 3 games in a row and looks to top a 5-1 Merchant Marine on Saturday. That's all from me. SCTV3, Sam McGilpin.
Sam's Starting Lineup will be back next week, highlighting the top performers for SC Athletics. We now take a look at the teams in action on Alden Street for the upcoming week. Kicking things off is women's volleyball, welcoming Williams to Blake Arena tomorrow night, the first of 3 home games for the team this weekend as they host the New England Challenge Tournament. Football is hoping to pick up a 4th straight NewMac win as Merchant Marine comes to Stagg Field for a noon kickoff. The women's soccer ends homecoming weekend against Emerson at 6. And after finishing the home slate for the week is men's soccer taking on Coast Guard. Let's turn the page to teams on the road this week. Men's soccer travels to Clark University for an early 11 o'clock start time on Saturday morning. Field hockey is looking to capture 2 wins this week. First stop is Wheaton this Saturday at noon, followed by Dean Wednesday for a 3:30 start. Closing out the week is women's soccer trying to take down Mount Holyoke for the 9th straight time. If you would like any extra information regarding Springfield athletics, head to springfieldcollegepride.com. After facing a top 10 opponent this week in Babson, a stellar start to her freshman year, Springfield College's field hockey goalie Sam Orcutt certainly deserves a nod as SCTV3's Athlete of the Week. SCTV3 reporter Emma Bynes spoke to Orcutt about the hot start of her career.
Hi there, and welcome to this week's edition of SCTV3's Athlete of the Week. This week I'm here with freshman field hockey goal Sam Orcutt. Sam, how are you liking Springfield College so far, and welcome to SCTV3.
Thank you. I love it here. I'm so happy. I feel like I've really found my place at Springfield. I love being surrounded by so many athletes. I have like-minded people all around me, and I feel support from, my team and the kids in my classes. I've just really found my place here.
So I know you're a goalie on the field hockey team. What kind of mental prep goes on for you before games to stay locked in when you're not necessarily involved in every single moment of play?
Before games, I find it's really important to stay kind to myself and remind myself even in game that I'm allowed to make mistakes. Especially being a freshman starting, there's a lot of pressure, and knowing that you are like the backbone of the team and the very last line of defense, holding yourself high and accountable while being forgiving takes a lot. So just reminding myself to stay kind, and definitely chugging an Alani before I step out on the field.
Yeah, I mean, especially as a freshman starting and have such a successful start to your year is impressive. I mean, how have seniors on your defense and also at your position helped you adjust to both college and Springfield College field hockey?
So Caitlin Parent is a senior goalie in the position, and having her alongside me has helped wonders. She really helped me adjust to being at Springfield right away. She was the first person to come up to me and be like, hey, if you have any questions, I'm your girl. So I knew immediately that I had her there to support me. We give each other high fives after we switch out for every single drill, every single practice. We have our secret handshakes. She's the girl I go to when I have the stupid questions that I would get embarrassed asking anybody else. And then obviously I have Nicolette Morlock as my center back. And she's just incredible. She reminds me that I need to stay loud in net, communicate. She keeps me, at my best and reminds me why I'm here.
This week you had a tough matchup against number 3 Babson. That's obviously, they have All-Americans, it's a high-scoring offense. How did you prepare for that game, but also what was going on in your head as you're watching the game unfold?
Right, I was so nervous going in, but at the same time, that the nerves, it's pretty easy to translate that into excitement. So while I was going into it like, oh my God, I'm gonna get absolutely peppered with shots, at the same time I was just excited because it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity for me to prove myself, for me to prove that I belong in this position as a freshman. And that, Springfield field hockey against everyone, we can take the number 3 and we can compete. So going into it knowing that, it's going to be a tough match, but we can hold our own and we have every shot in the world as long as we put the effort into it, then, we have every shot. So just making sure that you're mentally dialed and you know that it's going to take the work, it's going to take the effort, but it's so rewarding when you put the work and the effort in.
Sam, you've had a really successful freshman campaign, as we've spoken about. What's your personal favorite game so far this year, and why?
Definitely, I want to say Babson. Playing the number 3 in the country was so exciting. And they're so close to home. It's like they're local, so it's that competition that you know it's going to be good. and everyone's talking about it, the chatter on the team beforehand. We had the best energy going into that game. You know, it started first thing in the morning, our group chats, you know, sending each other messages, making sure everyone's, you know, locked in on their A game. You know, we left each other sticky notes in the locker room, and just all day, you know, you see someone on campus on the team and you're like, hey, are you excited? And everyone's like, yeah, I'm so excited, so excited. It was just the best energy all around.
Well, Sam, thank you so much for coming today. Back to you guys in the studio.
Springfield College's varsity weight room underwent a massive overhaul this summer, including the install of a new floor to help student athletes train. SCTV3's Connor Vork has more.
During last year's Giving Day, the Springfield College Strength and Conditioning Program raised enough money to fund for inlay flooring in the varsity weight room. The wood floor, which had been there since 2008, was deemed unsafe since it had become slippery, and there was a 3-inch gap between the racks and the dumbbell pit. Now, the floor is inlay with the ground, meaning there is no longer a gap. This project has proven to be a success and beneficial for the student athletes on campus. I spoke with the director of the Strength and Conditioning Program, Dr. Thompson, to learn more about why the inlay flooring was necessary.
I think a big thing is safety, and it allows the platform to be more accessible. There's no tripping danger anymore with those. It really opens up the coaching lane, so as a coach I can get in a better position to observe technique and correct technique and help if anything goes wrong during the lift.
In order to give the nearly 1,000 varsity and club student athletes on campus a safer and more effective environment, more changes needed to be made. That is why Dr. Thompson expects more upgrades to happen as soon as this summer.
We've kind of got a two-part project that we're trying to fundraise through our alums. The first part was the flooring with the new platforms. The second part would be new racks themselves. And those would just allow a lot more versatility. What we have in there now is from 2008. So there's been a lot of changes in technology with a lot of new attachments we could put on there and that type of thing that really open up our ability to program a little bit differently.
But why get new racks? There is already a variety of exercises athletes can perform currently. How will upgrade racks improve the future performance of athletes? Dr. Thompson shared his insight.
Well, a couple reasons. A lot of it's more functionally based, so kind of programming has changed during that last 17, 18 years. So we do things a little bit differently. So it would allow some of the attachments to do some more band work. They have some actually foam roller that you can actually attach to the platforms now. They have like a landmine attachments that do an angled press, things like that. So it would actually allow us to do more in that platform area instead of travel kind of throughout the weight room in different spots. So it would just make it a more efficient training process.
The flooring was just a stepping stone that gives the student athletes a taste of what the weight room experience will look like in the near future. Soon, the capabilities of what the athletic program and all its members have to offer will be on full display. Many student athletes on campus showed their excitement for what's to come.
The new weight room floor feels really good. It makes lift feel a lot smoother, and like cleaning up the racks is a lot more efficient without having to step down.
Yeah, the new floors are pretty lit. I feel like they help me move a lot faster and more efficient through the weight room, and I'm not like twisting my ankle anymore on the racks, so that's definitely a huge bonus.
As you can see, the Springfield College student athletes are getting a better experience in the weight room. If you want to find out more information, you can email Dr. Thompson at bthompson@springfieldcollege.edu. From SCTV3, I'm Connor Rourke.
That's all we have for this edition of SCTV3's Sports Extra. Stick around after the break for our weekly Q&A.
Jason, let's go see your room.
How was it? Is it good?
This week's Q&A segment features Slandy Dijus, the Vice President for Campus Life and Community Engagement. I spoke with Dr. Slandy, and she told me more about her role on campus.
This is my 5th year, and prior to Springfield College, I was at another institution, and I was looking for a change. I really was looking for a close-knit community, a community that values students, a residential experience, and so I started searching, and this position really appealed to me in so many ways. And so when I did my interview, and I was a COVID hire, one of the things that really stood out to me was that half of my search committee was made up of students, and that told me something right away. This was the first time in my professional journey, having been at 5 or 6 institutions prior to Springfield College, where I actually was interviewing for a position and half of the people who were tasked to hire me were students. My day-to-day, well, no day really looks exactly the same. In my position as the Vice President for Campus Life and Community Engagement, I oversee the co-curricular learning experience, which means the students' experience outside the classroom. We know that most students spend their waking hours, most of their waking hours outside the classroom, and so we provide the support and services that are needed for them to be successful. It starts from making sure that students feel heard. We may not necessarily agree with students, but they should really feel that they're heard, right? That there are people that they can go to express themselves. And it also means to me that we get to know our students on an individual basis. And that happens in the residence halls, that happens outside the residence halls, happens in the classroom, in the club and org. That's why I try to be as present as possible, so I get to know our students. Because their stories matter, right? They each come to campus with individual stories and experiences that we really need to understand. And so if we are in the business of trying to make sure they're successful, we can't design programs that are just for some. We have to think about the individual stories and the experiences and challenges that each of them face. Field where people are passionate about student development and growth. They're passionate about giving back, about educating the next generation, right? And so the advice that I would give to students is that to be a good leader, it starts with being authentic and knowing who you are. And no matter what has happened in the past, I believe those things actually are designed to shape you into who you are. There are a lot of things that happened in my past, including being a bullying victim, and that really has shaped my leadership style in terms of how I approach every day, how I approach my staff, how I talk to people, because inclusion matters. I know so much about what it means like to be excluded, right? What it means like to be made fun of, and so I go out of my way to make sure that people have a seat at the table and that they feel that their voice is heard.
A great person and an even better interview. Dr. Slandy also mentioned that if a student or anyone sees her on campus, they should stop by and say hello.
That'll do it for this edition of SCTV3 Weekly News. Thank you for tuning in.
Make sure to check out all of SCTV3's social media platforms, as well as our YouTube channel where we have all of our archive shows. We'll see you again next week. Same time,
same place.